Hi and welcome to Lady Boss HR. So today I want to talk to all employers about how to protect yourself within your contracts of employment through the use of restrictive covenants. So there's nothing worse than when an employee leaves your business, it's all amicable, you send them off with a lovely farewell and a nice gift, and you promise that you're going to stay in touch. And then in a few months' time, you find out that they have maybe left to go to a competitor, or they've set up in competition with you, which is absolutely fine. But worse still is that they have hit your client database. And that is a horrible thing. I was really lucky. For 15 years that never happened to me, but unfortunately my luck ran out last year and I had not just one but two employees do this to me. So I do feel the pain that people are in when this happens, because not only is that emotional, obviously, frustration, because you've no doubt trained and developed these people, you've been the shoulder to cry on if they've had any personal issues, and for most of us during the last sort of couple of years you've supported them through a difficult pandemic, and then this happens to you. But aside from the emotional frustration, because we can all get over that, it's the financial implications that I want to talk to you about today, and just make sure that, like myself, you've actually protected yourself through good restrictive covenants. So a restrictive covenant will be upheld and enforced if you can convince a court that it is a legitimate business interest that you are protecting, and it extends no further than is reasonable to protect that interest. So every business has information in it that it considers integral and vital to the success of that business. So what I would strongly advise you to do is protect that information post-termination for when an employee leaves your business. And the way in which to do that is through restrictive covenants. Now, what you have to do is be fair and reasonable here. So there's no point putting something in a contract of employment that is not enforceable. So when I say unreasonable, what you can't do is prevent your employees from being able to earn a living. So you can't stop them from trading, and you certainly can't remove competition. And let's face it, personally, I quite like a bit of competition. It's healthy. I think it helps you to sharpen your saw. And you know, that is the way in which we all get better at what we do. But what you do want to do is ensure that you do protect your business. And I think when somebody leaves your business and then tries to either take information or poach your staff or attack your database, then that is obviously underhanded, and there is definitely things that you can put in place to protect that. So what sort of restrictive covenants are available? Well, they tend to fall into these four categories. So one of them is non-competition. So this prevents your employee for a period of time working directly for in competition with you, and that can be normally a period of 6 to 12 months. Depending on seniority, tends to depend on the period of time that you enforce that restrictive covenant. I would suggest that anything beyond 12 months would be considered unreasonable, and as I mentioned earlier, if it's unreasonable then it's not enforceable, so there's little point having that in the contract. There is also a non-solicitation of clients. So this is to prevent your ex-employees from trying to poach your client base by sort of taking any data and trying to make contact with your clients. There is also a non-dealing restrictive covenant that you can put in place. That tends to be more of a blanket type approach, which basically says that there can be no dealings with customers or clients, whether you try and approach them or they approach you. And the final restrictive covenant that you could consider is non-poaching of your other employees. And this is also something to consider, because you will have other talent in your business, and what you don't want is for your ex-employee to try and poach and attract your other existing talent within your business. So there are several options for you to consider. One size does not fit all, and I would strongly suggest that you do take advice on this. Don't Google and put some generic restrictive covenant in place. I've seen that so many times before, and they're just not enforceable when you need it most. So make sure it fits the needs of your business. Consider what I've said here about how to ensure that it is enforceable. And if you haven't looked at that for a long time, then just speaking from experience now, just make sure that they are airtight, and they're always there. Hopefully they're just a good deterrent, and most of your employees, I'm sure, have got a great moral compass and good ethical stance, so it won't happen to you. But just in case you do have that unfortunate member of staff, or two members of staff, that decide to do it to you, at least you've got that protection there, and you can just nip it in the bud before they become a little bit of a nuisance to you. One just final point, which is outside of restrictive covenants, is obviously just to consider how you would gather the information to demonstrate that somebody has actually breached your restrictive covenants. And it's just an aside that I would strongly advise that you do make sure that you have good IT in place. That was really, really helpful to me when we did do that forensic analysis, just to identify some unnecessary activity during that period of time. So I hope this has been helpful. I really hope that you don't need to enforce a restrictive covenant, but if you do, you'll be protected. If you do need any help on this, I have put a blog together. I have also got lots of information and guidance to support you. Drop me a DM. I'm happy to do that for you. And if you don't follow me on other social media channels, I'd love you to. I'd love to be on your journey with you as well. So here are my details below now. And have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you next week.